So it might be that these aluminum and plaques that they see in Alzheimer's patients are not the cause of Alzheimer's, but the effect of an overcongested brain that after decades of sleeping flat, this is the end disease that you're going to find. The brain is going to start deteriorating from pressure and getting these an Alzheimer's expansion. I mean, so this could explain Alzheimer's disease as well. So we were very excited to do this study, and we did it in Canada, in Victoria, BC, where we were for a little while. We did several studies up there. And we asked from the newspaper, we looked for migraineurs who would like to test this. And we told them how to adjust their beds and everything. And 60% of the people who tried this stopped having migraines. And this is after decades of migraines. And some of them, I mean, it was like a miracle to them. These people were so appreciative that after years of taking drugs that didn't work, I mean, these people were in their 50s, some of them, lifetime migraine sufferers, that as soon as they raised their bed, within a week of doing that, their migraines were gone. I mean, it was a miracle for them. So we were very excited about this. And I contacted places, because, I mean, think about glaucoma, okay? Glaucoma causes blindness, and it's a really bad disease. It happens after years. So these are what happens with years and years of this type of head pressure. The eyeballs get pressurized. There's too much pressure in the head, and the fluid in the eyeballs gets pressurized. So the eyeball actually has more pressure. They already know when they test your eye pressure, if you lie down, it's higher than when you're standing up. And they've hung people upside down and tested their eye pressure, and they say that's the worst. So they say if you have glaucoma, don't hang upside down. I mean, this is literally what they said. And instead of concluding that to prevent and treat glaucoma, you should just have your head slightly elevated. And by the way, the correct degree is 30 degrees. These NASA researchers who are studying this, they have people lie flat on Earth to simulate zero gravity to look at the effects. And they found that a 30-degree head of bed elevation from the middle of the bed up, 30 degrees, is optimal for heart circulation and brain circulation. And if you think about historically how people would have slept, they slept in hammocks, where your head is up and your feet are up. And a lot of animals sleep that way too, like orangutans. They sleep in the tops of trees. They make hammocks for themselves. And if you're living in nature, you need to be on your back with your ears open, your eyes able to get open, and able to jump up whenever you need to. The idea of being able to lie flat in a room with silence for 8 hours straight is a modern day invention that's created by the need to get up and work all day, because you're run by schedules. You're not run by needs. If you run by needs, you'd sleep some at night, you sleep some during the day, you take naps, but you'd be awake a lot more at night, because living in the forest, like the jungle here in Hawaii, when we do, we're so aware of the moon. If it's a full moon or quarter moon, an early evening or early morning, it affects our sleep patterns and what we can do. I mean, people were up with the moon. The moon makes it very bright when you're really living with moonlight, and you wouldn't necessarily go to sleep, at the same time every night. So we would have rhythms that would flow with nature and the lunar cycle and so forth. But we don't have those in our artificial worlds today. So people have to sleep a certain period of time, and if they even can't fall. If they can't fall asleep, they'll take drugs, which don't give them the right type of sleep. And they're taking drugs all day anyway, like caffeine, and which ruins sleep, and even alcohol to try to come down from the caffeine, and alcohol ruins sleep. And then they have their iPhones at night with the light in their eyes, which ruins sleep. So we're really we're really stupid in this culture about sleep. Okay, we don't sleep well, and then when we do sleep, we'll lie face down, just suffocating ourselves. Our rib cage can't expand. And by the way, you can even tell when a person is how they sleep by looking at their face. If they've been on a pillow and they're sleeping on their side or belly, the pillow is pushing into their face. And over time, if they're a right side sleeper, which usually they have a right or a left predominant side, you'll see that their nose will bend away from the side they lean on. Their eye will even bend. Their face will bend. And you'll see asymmetries, which get more exaggerated as people get older, which are really caused by the way they're smashing their face into their bed and pillow every night for their entire lives, for a third of their lives. So if you did that for a third of your life, just smash your face 8 hours a day, imagine what will happen by the time you're in your 50s or 60s, you know, even in your 30s and 20s. You'll start seeing your septum of your nose. It won't be equal. The nostrils will be different because one is being smashed. Your smile will change. It'll even change your teeth. Your shape of your teeth will change. So this causes orthodontic problems in children. And you know, from just pressure on the head. In fact, the head shape is determined by how you sleep. In the Orient, they like to have kids on their backs. So the kids who were raised in Asian countries tend to have round heads with a flat back from pressure of the head leaning against the pillow. In our culture, in the West, we tend to put kids on their side or belly, and that makes the heads narrow. And you'll see the ears of people who sleep on their sides will be smashed to their head. People who sleep on their back tend to have ears that come out more. So, you know, you can actually tell a lot about how a person is sleeping just by looking at their body and the effect it's having on them. If they're side sleeping and they're leaning on their arm, they'll wake up with a numb arm, right? I mean, you've woken up with like your arm is dead, and you hit it, and you know you can't feel anything, and then it starts to come back to life with tingles. That's because you cut off the blood flow and you've been leaning. Well, imagine doing that. What's going to happen to you when you're in your 40s and 50s after 4 decades of sleeping that way? These are cumulative diseases, and maybe that's why people don't see them creeping up on them. These are chronic problems. Chronic diseases are caused by long-term lifestyle problems that you don't recognize the cause, you continue doing it, and it adds up. And by the time you're older, you're feeling it, and you're showing it, and it could be irreversible once your body gets shaped a certain way. It's very hard to reshape it. You've done what you've done.